all the creative ways you can use Marketo tokens when building your emails, webhooks, and smart campaigns to save you time. The very first place we are going to start off with is the Marketo docs, because this shows us all the tokens that are available within Marketo and examples for each. So we can see all the person level tokens, company tokens, campaign tokens, system tokens, trigger tokens, program tokens, my tokens, and member tokens. And within this first section here, I just give a brief description of each. But in particular, I want you to take a look at the Marketo trigger tokens example usage blog post, because I do a deep dive into Marketo trigger tokens because they are a little bit more complex than something like person tokens or company tokens. So check out this blog post for a deep dive into trigger tokens. And then for member tokens, these are usually associated with third-party integrations like webinar platforms. So we've got examples like the webinar URL field and the registration code fields. And if you want to learn more about the member.webinar URL field, then you can check out this blog post here. And if you want to see how you can use the member.registration code token to create add to calendar links that contain the unique join URL for each registrant in a webinar, then you can check out this post here. Okay, before showing you some cool use cases for tokens in Marketo, I first wanted to cover My Token accessibility, because where you define your My Tokens will impact where they can be used. So the best way to show this to you is to use an example. So if we define our My Tokens at the active marketing level folder, all of these My Tokens and their values will be accessible to any of the smart campaigns, programs, and emails that exist underneath this active marketing folder. And then if we go to a particular program that is nested underneath the active marketing folder, and we go to the My Tokens section, if we define any new tokens here by dragging them in from the right hand side, they will appear in the local tokens section. And then if we change the values of any of the tokens that we got from the active marketing folder, then they will appear in the overridden section. And then all the other tokens that we got from the active marketing folder will be in the inherited section because their values were not changed. Next, we're going to cover how to use Marketo tokens in webhooks. And I highly recommend you check out this Using Tokens in Marketo Webhooks section of this post. In this section here, you can see how we can use webhooks to pass form fill information to Slack using lead and company tokens. You can see how we can change the URL that a webhook is sending to using lead tokens so that we can look up information about a lead's phone number. Then you can see how we can pass context about what trigger caused a smart campaign to run and send this to Slack using trigger tokens. And then you can also see how we can use a smart campaign description token to send different SMS messages from different smart campaigns using one single webhook. So check out this section here in this blog to see all of these cool examples. Okay, the next thing we are going to cover is how to use tokens in Marketo emails to reduce the number of emails we need to build. So the example I'm going to use here is that we've got content programs across ebooks, fact sheets, guides, and white papers. And anytime someone fills out a form to request a piece of content, we need to email them a link so they can download that piece of content. If we were to have an email exist within every single content program, you can see how many of them there would be. Now imagine your company wanted to do a rebrand and every single one of the emails in all these content programs needed to be updated to the new brand. You would have to go and change every single one of those emails. So to avoid this, we are going to use one single global email to deliver the content and then change the content link using my tokens in each of the content programs. So let's take a look at the setup of our global content delivery email. So we access this within the Design Studio, and then we're going to open up the global content delivery email. And then in here, you'll notice that we use a My token for the subject line. And then in the Download It Now link, we are going to use another My token. And in this case, it's the my.content link. So now if we send this email from a smart campaign that exists within one of these programs, then if we go to the flow where we've got our send email step, you can see we send the global content delivery email. So now these My tokens that we've populated within the global email, they are going to be populated with the values that we specify in this program. So you can see we specify the my.content link here. And we also specify the subject line for this email. So when the email gets sent from this smart campaign, these My tokens will be pushed into that global content delivery email. So this way we can get away with using one single email to send different pieces of content for every single program that exists for all our ebooks, case studies, fact sheets, and white papers. The next great use case for tokens is in our email templates, and we're going to use a My token for the year beside the copyright symbol in the footer of our emails. So if we go to the Design Studio again and we open up the content delivery template, for example, and we scroll to the very bottom where we've got the section for our footer, you'll notice, if I zoom in here, you'll notice that we use the my.current year token here. So then if we go back to our marketing folder, the active marketing folder, if we define the current year My token at this level, then all of the emails that exist within this active marketing folder will all have access to this current year token. So you'll see that we specify the current year token here and we set the value to 2023. So then every single email that exists underneath this folder will have access to that My token and will pull in that value of 2023. So in the footer of this email, we can see that the value of 2023 has been populated from the my.current year token. And this is a great example of where to use tokens in our email templates. So now if every single one of our email templates uses the same token, then when it comes to January 1st every year, we just update the my.current year token in one single place. Then all of the emails that are made from these email templates will automatically have their year updated. Before I move on, I just want to show you guys the Marketo email template quick start guide. You should check this out if you are unsure of how to create and modify email templates in Marketo, because I give an in-depth walkthrough of how to do that in this blog post here. The next thing I'm going to show you is how we can use tokens in flows to do some cool and creative things. I recommend checking out these two sections here, the first of which will show you how we can append on new information to information that already exists in a field. So in this example here, we want to update the behavior score 7-day history field, but we don't want to overwrite what already exists in this field. We only want to add on to whatever information already exists in this field. So to do this, we set the behavior score 7-day history field equal to itself by using the lead token for this field, and then we append on any new information. So you can check out this section here to see how to do that. And then the second example that I linked to here is how we can use My tokens for our score categories in our lead scoring campaigns. So say, for example, that we didn't use score categories like this, and we hard coded in a value of +5 points for all our highest intent activities. Then if we had to change this from, say, +5 points to +7 points, we would have to go to every single smart campaign and manually change the value from +5 to +7. However, if each of these scoring campaigns instead uses the my.highest token, then we can just update the value from +5 to +7 here, and then all the smart campaigns that use this token will have the scores updated. So that can save us a lot of time when building our lead scoring campaigns. The next example I'm going to go through is how we can use tokens to set the same delay across multiple programs. So in this case, the desired outcome is to put a delay in all the search programs of 2 minutes, all the referral programs of 1 minute, and all the social programs by 30 seconds. So now imagine for a second we were to hard code a value of 2 minutes into the wait step of all the search programs. Then for some reason we needed to change this value to 3 minutes. Then we would have to go to the wait steps within each and every single search program and update it from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. So that would take a lot of time, and we want to avoid this. So that's why we are going to use tokens for the delay, so that this way we can change the delay in one single place, and then it will propagate to all the search programs that use this delay. So as I show here, we are going to define the delays in the My Tokens of the operations folder here, so that all of the programs that exist underneath the operations folder will have access to these tokens. So if we go to the operations folder here, and we go to My Tokens, we can see that we've got all of the delays defined. And you'll notice here that these are all text tokens, and we write out the delay that we want. So 30 seconds, or this could be 30 minutes, 30 days, etc. And then in our smart campaigns, we can reference these tokens. And the way we do this is not straightforward, so you have to follow these steps exactly. So what we do is we have a temporary date time field, and in this date time field we use the system.datetime to get the current timestamp, and then we add on the delay that we defined in our operations folder here. And then in order to wait for our delay, we use the wait flow step, and we use the until option. So here we are going to select the type as date token, and then it's a little bit messy, but in the end on field here, we are going to reference the lead token for our date time field that we just populated. So now, whenever we use this method, all the programs will be delayed by the values we have defined in the My Tokens tab here. So as I mentioned, the advantage of doing this is that if we want to change the delay that all our search programs use, we can just change that value here, and then all the search programs will have their wait steps updated to the value we specified here. So this is in contrast to manually hard coding a value of 90 seconds into all of our smart campaigns, and then having to change that from 90 seconds to 3 minutes in every single program. This is much more efficient to define your delays using My Tokens, and then use this method that I outline here to wait for the time specified in these tokens. And I also outline that here in the blog post. I do it step by step, what you need to do to follow these instructions. So check that out here if it's hard to follow in the video. The next example we're going to go through is how we can set two fields to the exact same current timestamp. So in this example, we've got two fields, velocity, date and time MQL, and velocity date and time MQL latest. The first one records a timestamp for when someone MQLs for the first time. The second one records a timestamp for the latest time someone MQLs, since people can re-MQL after a period of inactivity. So when someone MQLs for the first time, we obviously want to set these two fields to be the same value, the same timestamp. However, if we have consecutive change data value flow steps that both reference the system.datetime token, since the second change data value flow step runs a few milliseconds after the first one, that means that these two fields will have values that are a few milliseconds apart. So if we use logic that says velocity date and time MQL latest is greater than velocity time MQL to identify re-MQLs in our reporting, this few milliseconds difference will lead to a lot of false re-MQLs in our reporting. So we want to avoid this and set these two fields to the exact same timestamp. And the way we do this is using an interim field. So the interim field that we use here is called dummy, and we set it equal to the system.datetime token. And now we can set these two fields to be the exact same value by pulling in the lead token for the dummy field. The next cool example of using tokens in Marketo is for transferring UTMs from form fills to program fields. In this example, one single global content delivery form is used to send different pieces of content to people depending on the web page that they filled out the global form. So what this looks like is in our design studio, we've got a global form for content delivery. And in this form, we've got three hidden fields. And these hidden fields capture the UTM source, medium, and campaign if they are present in the query string of the URL when someone fills out the form. And these get stored in three person level fields in Marketo: UTM source, medium, and campaign. And the reason we want to transfer these three person level fields to fields that exist at a program level is because, and I mentioned this here in the blog post, since these three lead level UTM values are lead level fields, the next time someone fills out that global form, these three lead level fields will get overwritten and we'll lose all the campaign information that led the person to download the previous piece of content. So the way we are going to store the UTM values for each piece of content that someone downloads is within program level fields. So now this way, once we've transferred the three lead level UTM values to the three corresponding program member fields, the next time someone fills out the form for a different piece of content, it's okay that these three lead level UTM values get overwritten because we have them stored in the corresponding program for the previous piece of content. Okay, so let's check how the Smart Campaign is set up in Marketo. So it's this transfer UTM fields Smart Campaign. And then in here, you can see that we reference the content delivery form. And since it's a global form, we need to specify the web page that the form is filled out on to know what content program it corresponds to. So in this case, since the form is filled out on the Better Twilio Alternative ebook landing page, we know to associate this form fill to the Better Twilio Alternative content program in Marketo. And then we check that the query string is not empty. And then in the flow, we add the person to the program in the downloaded status. And then we transfer the three lead level fields for UTM source, medium, and campaign using lead tokens into the last touch UTM source, medium, and campaign program level fields using the change program member data actions. So now when someone fills out the form with query string parameters, like I have in the URL here, when they fill out this form, this Smart Campaign will run. to transfer the 3 lead level UTM values to the corresponding program member fields. So now if the person goes on to download a different piece of content and the 3 lead level fields get overwritten, that is okay because we've stored all the campaign information that led the person to download that previous piece of content in the program member fields for that previous piece of content. So this way, we never lose any information about what led a person to download a particular piece of content because we always have that transferred from the 3 lead level fields to the corresponding program member fields that exist in each content program. It is worth noting here that if instead of using a global form, you had a local form within each content program, you can actually set those program member fields directly, because since it's a local form, it can access the program member fields. However, the downside to doing this is that if you need to make a change to all of these local forms that exist across all your content programs, let's say you need to add a new field, then you need to make that change multiple times across all of those forms. However, if you use one single global content delivery form, then if you need to make a change to a single field, you can do that in one place. The only downside to this, though, is that you do need this smart campaign to transfer the lead level field values to the program member fields. So you have to make a decision there. Do you want to have this smart campaign, or do you want to have multiple local forms and run the risk that it'll take you a lot of time if you need to update all of these local forms? And there we have it. That's how we can use tokens within Marketo in creative ways to save us time when building webhooks, emails, and smart campaigns, and also to achieve certain objectives that we wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So I hope you found this blog post and video useful. And if there are some other things you want to tick off your list, I recommend checking out the Marketo lead scoring post, the Marketo API Quick Start Guide, and Marketo executable versus request campaigns if you're looking for some more Marketo core concepts to tick off your list. And as always, if you found this video useful, then please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this in the future, then please subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments of this video. Thank you.